Hello and welcome to the BBB podcast, where today we are talking about various Overwatch topics again.
Okay.
On today's episode, we have astrobiologist,
Hi.
Jazz,
Hello.
Ian,
Yo, what up?
and myself.
Yep.
Who are you?
Yeah, I am Ness.
Hello, Ness.
Hi,
Hello,
Ness.
Bob, narrator man.
I am the narrator, man. Yeah, today we are talking about various topics within the Overwatch sphere,
Yep.
mostly involving Overwatch 2, and not much drama. Though there is enough drama going on with Overwatch 2.
Oh yeah.
It's less drama and more perpetual confusion and just kind of light fires.
Yeah, it's like small fires. Can't put
Yeah,
them out.
it's the baseline drama. I mean, there's always some.
There's always something, you know. We won't discuss Twitter drama because that'll just that's a real fire.
There was Twitter drama.
There's
Oh,
always
stop.
Twitter drama.
Oh. Okay. Okay, that's
It's
fair.
There's so much
Overwatch,
Twitter
Astro.
drama you can't discover the Twitter drama.
That's fair.
Astro, it's Overwatch and Twitter.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's a horrible mix. It's sure to go well.
Anyway.
Let's
Anyways,
start off the topics with just a very crispy one, just a very crusty just introduction to this. The Watchpoint pack and the beta access confusion in general.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, this is a special one, isn't it, lads?
I actually have a little story with this, right?
All right,
You know,
share away.
Imagine
guy.
you're me, just like the one guy in class that plays Overwatch on a consistent basis. Everyone kind of knows I play Overwatch, and they would like to play the beta with me. And I'm like, oh yeah, here's the things you could do to get into the beta. So they sign up, of course. And every time when they think the beta is supposed to drop, and they could get the drop for the beta, they message me a very sad smiley face when they don't get in.
Oh.
Aww.
And it's happened every single time now, and I foresee it will happen again right after this current beta drop, the June 5th one. It's June? No, it's
July 5th.
July.
Yeah.
July 5th.
Keep your eyes open, Jazz. You might get one.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everyone. I didn't get in.
Ugh.
Because I didn't bother with the Watchpoint pack because of reasons that I'm not going to delve into because they're actually controversial and I don't want that negative energy
Yep.
about my personal decisions. Sorry, but people can probably guess, but I don't want to talk about it. But no, I signed up the old-fashioned way, and I still haven't gotten even a glance in my direction. Not even a thank you, just absolutely nothing, which is great.
It should say
Feels great.
thank you on the website though immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, do you know the way they send you a thank you email as well?
Right.
Well, I don't
That-
think they did actually.
Oh, did
They
not?
didn't for me. No.
No,
Oh, okay.
they don't
I
send
kind
you
of
a
just thought that
confirmation email.
they haven't sent me like anything. They just said thank you, bye.
They say thank you
Right.
on the website, and they're just gonna assume that it works.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Assuming it works. It just
Assuming
works.
It just works. Thank you, Bethesda, for that banger line.
Unfortunately,
Um,
Ian, Ness, and I are indeed suckers, and we did buy it.
We're
Oh, you got
whales.
scammed.
Even in poverty, I still wail out.
I mean, I don't have a choice. I gotta get in, you
yeah,
know?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though, would you not think that they would let you in regardless?
Oh, they would have.
Yeah, that's true. You just want the icon and the skins.
Yes. I need those.
I need those for future content.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
it's kind of weird because like even if I buckled and I bought the Watchpoint pack, I'm not even apparently from what I've seen on Twitter, I'm not even guaranteed getting in at that stage either.
Well,
Oh, jeez.
there is. I think it's the 14th that you are guaranteed to get in. Everyone who signed up is guaranteed to get in.
Oh, sweet! So I can one day. Fabulous.
Well, no.
And it's basically gone.
When does it go to? It goes until when?
18th, I think.
I thought it was.
Wait. When does this beta end, actually? I'm still fucking shocked that it ends. Why would it end?
Why would
they
it
leave
end?
it up?
There's this thing called a beta, and it just sort of only appears for a little bit, and then it goes away.
I can add in one more new map and one more new hero, of course.
Oh yeah, Jazz, you'd be able to play for a whopping 4 days.
I swear to God.
Wow.
It ends Monday? That Monday?
Yeah.
The 18th.
Shit, that's literally 2 days before my birthday. That would have been fun.
Oh. No Overwatch 2 on your birthday. We just get depressing Blizzard news on your birthday.
Yeah. God damn it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's been a bit weird to see. Like, I've seen people on Twitter say that they like maybe this is the first like 2 days, right? I haven't caught up. Besides that, so this might not be true by now, by the time we're recording, and also when this episode uploads, or at least by Jesus, I hope not. But apparently, people are having a lot of login issues and like servers crashing, especially on console. I buckled and I went and I bought it was like €38 or something like that for my PlayStation. That still would not have guaranteed me going in, which I think is.
What was it?
It's supposed to guarantee it.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking as well. So I'm like, oh god.
I'm pretty sure it's worked because I've seen no people complain about it, except for the first like 2 or 3 hours.
No, but
that it would have launched.
You bought what for 38?
She didn't. She's like, oh, hypothetically, if I did.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it costs like I think it's $40, €38 here for me.
No, it's €40.
You're shitting me, is it?
Yeah, Europeans just always get fucking rolled in this. They're just like, no, dollars and euros are the same thing. Smile.
Hold on, I'm gonna boot up my PS4 right now.
I mean, if you're Japanese,
fake news.
If you're Japanese, get it for 40. What's there?
Oh, Jazz, I paid 40 for it, so
well,
maybe
spoiler
39.
alert, lads. Spoiler alert, lads! I'm not exactly in Japan right now.
No, I know.
Yeah, no, I can't check the yen prices right now.
Yeah, like 40 yen is like, I think like.
It should be about 4,000 yen for this.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If they get it for 40 yen, they're getting it for like what? 40 cents.
40
cents.
40 cents. The conversion to yen is pretty easy for Americans. It's literally divided by 100.
It's usually divided by 100. It changes a little bit. It's in the ballpark.
It's roughly around that though.
It's in the ballpark.
Like $1 is around 100 yen.
Yeah.
Regardless of yen, I think we can all agree that if you pay 40 something for something that says immediate access, you should get immediate access.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Wait! People aren't? I think I misunderstood something here.
Yeah, I think
what
it's
I
mainly
mean.
like technical issues where it's like, oh, their account isn't like properly connected or things like that, where it's like, okay, Blizzard intended for these people to get access. It's just the back-end system structures aren't working properly, basically. That's my understanding.
A lot of that is on console too, because we didn't get a lot of that last beta, even though there wasn't a paying structure.
Oh, I'm sure console has complicated things tremendously on the back end.
I mean, here's the thing. I completely understand that this is probably like pretty stressful on the servers, that this is the first time on console, but again, I can't help but feel like I can't confirm right now, I must have misread, it is €40 on here. So if I paid €40 for something and it says automatic access for blah 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 blah, and if I don't get it, I'm going to be a bit miffed, and I can't exactly say that. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's fair.
It's 65 Canadian.
Wait.
Oh,
I read that one on the forums.
That's a little bit more expensive than $40. It's not
who would have known?
It's not too much more expensive, but it is more expensive.
Well, it's the same here. It's €40 even, and it's $40 for you.
Well, yeah, but €40 and $40 are not equivalent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more expensive for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I know in places like Brazil, it's brutal. Because
you should see Venezuela.
Yeah. Because I know that I've had a couple people from Brazil tell me that like because their prices on the shop don't scale super well with like the value of the currency in the country that they're selling to. Oh man, it gets out of hand.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive,
especially
for what you're getting.
Yeah.
Well, we're not even sure what we're getting. That's also that's the second worst
What
part.
are we getting?
The treasure of it.
Are we
You're
getting
vague treasure from another planet.
Are we getting the third beta? Huh? We getting the third beta? Probably
If this
not.
doesn't guarantee third beta access, I'm gonna actually eat shit.
Probably not, huh? Yeah, probably doesn't.
There is a refund structure for it, luckily, and I've seen people get refunds for it.
Thank you, Blizzard.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Yeah, we're thanking them for bare minimum.
Yeah.
Oh no.
At least they're not pulling an EA and being like, "Oh, it's mildly controversial. You can't refund it anymore."
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the state of the gaming industry, isn't it? Like, yay, we get refunds. It's like, oh no.
Oh yeah, we can get our money back. Money back guarantee.
Yay, the bare minimum.
Woo,
Bare
the bare
minimum. Speaking of bare minimum, more controversy. Nothing about this launch has gone right in like so many minute ways that it's all.
The marketing team is like, did they light their base on fire? Like, I cannot foresee how terribly they must have wanted this to launch.
Oh, I feel so. Do you know what? How it pains me is because the trailer and the little reveal event, while initially a bit disappointing, I think people were really happy with it, and just to see the thing is, it's like nothing has anything destructive happened. Not really, but it's just like small little cuts that like build up over time, if that makes sense. That just slowly kills you.
Right.
Yeah, this is something I've been observing for years at this point, where it's just like, you just want things to go well for the game. You want it to work out. You want things to work out properly. And just to see time and time again, these little failures, these little trip-ups, these little, oh, that didn't work quite right, or, oh, that wasn't quite as good as it should have been. It's so disheartening to just see this happen over and over again. Just forever for Overwatch. Like, they can't escape it.
Overwatch team just consistently runs into L's. It's really, really just very sad to see from a distance.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when I see what people who aren't in the Overwatch community are thinking of it. It's like, so not only is this like, I'm not even sure what this is. Is it a new game? I don't know. Is it the same game? I don't know. Am I gonna pay for it? I don't know. And then on top of that, it's like, so the beta's out. I paid for it. I can't get in. It's just, man.
And let's get into the more confusion of the whole debacle with the Twitch subs.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
That's Twitch subs.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You see, the thing is, their Twitch events have always gone like pretty smoothly. This one, I've just. I think
this one actively lowered viewership.
Did it? Oh my god.
Like, I did see a noticeable dip in viewership after this drop.
Please tell me
no one extra watched.
Oh my god.
So who wants to explain this one?
I think I'll take my step forward as the representative of the Twitch platform here.
Oh, mic is all yours, man. Mic is all yours.
Yes. The Twitch event. So, Overwatch thought, you know what, let's test the water with our paid cosmetics and put a little Twitch event, Very wholesome. It'll help the community gain metric fuck tons of money, probably, right? So they made a small list of streamers available for this. Very tiny list of sometimes Overwatch streamers that you could donate 3 Twitch subs to get yourself a Brig skin. It would have to be gifted subs too, so you'd on average get like 4 subs on them if you wanted to actually sub to them. But you have to give out 3 gifted subs to any one of the listed streamers. I mean, there have been games before who have done this. Notably, a game like Halo, or I think Paladins has done something like this.
It didn't go well with Halo.
No, but there's other games who has done it more successfully than this because they didn't list a very tiny subsection of the community for it.
Imagine that. Something didn't go well for Halo.
They made it like category wide on Twitch. So it's clear from a technical standpoint they could have made it like category wide. It's like, oh, just donate to whatever streamer you want that's streaming the game.
Right.
Should be cool, right? That'll help everyone. And now there's just like, okay, well, we're just gonna select a few people who we can just pay the college tuition for. That's it's a strange one, and you get a, in my opinion, not the greatest looking skin. I mean, it's not a bad skin. Has some unique lines, but I feel like this will be the rarest skin in the game because no one really wants it.
Have they? Has anyone commented? Because I know you said like student debt's paid for. It can't be that much. Obviously it's not that as much as a student debt, but like it can't be that crazy, right? There's no way.
Well, let's say 200 people decide to do this on your stream, right?
Right.
You'd get $750 from that alone.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you get $2.50 from it as a streamer.
Right.
And put it in perspective, I think I saw XQC on there, on the streamer list, correct?
Yes, obviously.
He gets a little extra gambling money.
Yeah.
So if you're XQC and you have a ginormous platform, a lot of them being Overwatch fans who are now seeing you play Overwatch again, who are like, oh yeah, I'll throw some money. Like, so Ness has just described like only 200, right?
Yeah,
so imagine like 2 million.
Well,
people
not 2
doing that.
million. Not 2 million people are going to give 3.
Probably more like 20,000.
Like 20,000 is like a very good like summation.
That's a good markup for the people that would gift sub in that amount of time to XQC.
Yeah.
That's a good $75,000 just from one event.
Shit.
Yeah. Like if you look at just like the sheer amount of money they can just rake in with this, it's ridiculous. Like that. Well, I don't get it. Like I don't want to pay $15 for a skin, right? That's too much.
No, never in a million years.
Especially, I especially don't want to pay 15 euros for it.
Now, and I have an interesting question to pose because I saw this very early on, and to be honest, it got so confusing that I just kind of went, okay, I'm just gonna drop it. I'm just not gonna look through it anymore.
Right.
So you know the way for Europeans specifically, it's very hard, if not near impossible, or just not possible, depending on where you are, to get Twitch drops and stuff like that.
Right.
I have seen people question, hey, can Europeans actually even get this skin? Like, are we just like, are we risking like around 15 euros on a blind hope?
There's also the consistent funny that the console players weren't even guaranteed the skin anyways.
Exactly. So on top of that,
they ended up getting it, but there was a subsection that was like, you might not get it.
Well, Blizzard officially said you won't get it on console until the merging of Overwatch 2 release. But then they just got it anyways, and it's like, okay.
Right.
They managed to fix that, but then they will like just walk into another L.
Did they fix it though, or was it just a happy coincidence on some technical level? Like,
I don't know, Ian. Honestly, they're handing out so many L's. It's like it's hard to track which one's a W.
So my thoughts on this whole Brig skin thing. I like the idea of it. I think there's potential there as a thing to do. But obviously, the list of people they had who, you could donate to or whatever is way too small. dropping this sort of thing at this point in time, I also think gave people a bad taste in their mouth because of the issues with not being able to get into the beta and all the technical issues from that.
Right.
And the money they had to spend on the Watchpoint pack at the same time.
They just spent money on $40 or however much on the Watchpoint pack, and now they're like, oh, I'm getting into this beta. Oh, I can't even get into the beta because of whatever technical reasons. There's only a handful of new things added in the beta anyways. People are already in a sort of like negative mindset around Overwatch 2 in the beta, and then out of nowhere, Blizzard just throws this. And this is just like the, I don't know if I'd say final nail in the coffin, but it's the cherry on top, I guess, in terms of the like, oh, look at Blizzard, you know, where it's like, if Blizzard was on a roll with something positive when they did something like this, I think most people would have still been like, but they would have accepted it. The fact that they had this Brig Twitch thing happen now, I think was just, another thing on the shit pile, basically.
Yeah.
We also have to consider like there's other, other content creators that have kind of been shafted by Blizzard a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can understand, like, if you have been with Overwatch through thick and thin, and you are like, but you don't have the biggest platform equivalent to like someone like XQC, well then you're kind of like, well, nah, you don't get our support whatsoever. And to see that, like, to see other, people get that support even after like dragging your game or outright quitting until like Overwatch 2 or stuff like that, I can understand where there's another layer of bitterness on top of everything Ian has just described,
Right.
Yeah,
like,
certainly on the content creator side, I understand that as well.
Like, I don't agree with it mainly because I'm like, well, I don't know how to explain this, but like, I don't think a huge company owes anyone anything like that. It's a weird thing of like, it's a big company, what are you going to expect?
Right.
Like, they're not gonna, unfortunately, it's just it's a numbers game, you know what I mean? They're obviously going to scratch your back if you scratch mine, kind of dealio. And if you're only pulling in like X amount of numbers compared to like an XQC, again, I'm just using him as an example, I'm not dissing on the guy. But like, if you're not pulling in those numbers, then like, of course they're going to go with the guy who has like 1 million followers and like shit like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Blizzard isn't Raid Shadow Legends. They don't offer sponsorships to random Dutchmen with 7 viewers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess it's very similar to the Overwatch 2 alpha, which I had access to. Like, after it was revealed that there was the alpha and that people had access to it, there were tons of small content creators who didn't get access that were like, hey, what the heck? I've been making content for years or whatever, why didn't I get in? Sort of thing. And so I think it's the same sort of thing happening now, where it's like, all these people are getting shafted when, Blizzard should hopefully help them, but as you said, Jazz, it's not like Blizzard's obligated to do that. Like, it'd be cool if they did help them and let them into these programs and whatnot, but they have no obligation, so it's whatever they decide to do.
I will say this, it is a bit shady to do this right after Pride.
Yeah, it is.
And like, kind of have that like teeny tiny like Pride event that they had, and then suddenly have this. It's kind of like, a bit shady.
They had a Pride event?
Yeah, they sort of did.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I don't remember, honestly.
I barely remember any of it either.
Truthfully, it was just atting a bunch of creators being like, look at them.
Oh yeah, those are the LGB guys. Yeah, go get those.
then the lettuce, bacon, tomato.
Yeah, those are like my favorite the BLT guys. I love those.
love them sandwiches. love Subway.
Yeah.
This podcast was sponsored by Raid Shadow.
I could be.
God, please, no! I'm not playing that game again.
Oh god, the tickle bone. But it I won't lie, that was a little shady to be like, and I wouldn't mind. But there was also like someone tweeting out, a developer saying like, "Hey guys, what would you like to see that isn't just like story stuff?" to see like more pride things or, you know, queer content, etc., etc. And there was a whole bunch of suggestions. I definitely suggested like a pride, some sort of like pride Twitch event, you know, to support like it. And who
They might do it next year, you know. They might introduce some funny icons and a few sprays. That honestly be enough.
Yeah. Like
I'd be satisfied with that. If all I want to do is spray a funny spray on a racist European guy and just be like, just mauled about it. Just see it.
Eat butt.
If I can piss off someone with a simple flag spray, I'm happy.
Yeah, but the only problem is that then you have countries like China where it would just be like...
Well, then just
Russia.
not make it available. They've done that before, and they'll do it again. Like there's certain items and sprays and visuals in Overwatch that are already not available in the Chinese version of Overwatch.
Oh, so there are sprays that if someone puts them down, the person on the Chinese side wouldn't be able to see them?
I'm not sure about that, but that is possible.
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest here. There's plenty of games that do have like pride flag, as simple as like pride icons and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Not an issue. This should.
Oh, she's entering space.
Overwatch, which has like very proudly, might I add, a proud lesbian on the front cover. This shouldn't be too difficult.
Right.
Rule.
You know, it shouldn't. Anyway, so there's the streamer thing, and do you know what even gets people even more mad than like paying money?
No,
streamers,
I want to stay on
Twitch,
the streamer
everything,
thing.
all that. Oh, you're still on it?
Yeah, no. There's one thing I wanted to. A few more things I wanted to mention about it that just do not make sense.
Right.
So the price point doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
They've done support a streamer events before, and they've done it that the most you would have to pay for it is 100 bits.
Right.
That's that's €1 or $1, which is a lot less than 15.
Right.
But that was for like one of the Ash or Batiste events, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They tried that, and it went over really well because if enough people in the Twitch chat managed to donate for it, everyone in the Twitch chat at that moment in time would get it as well.
Right.
So not even everyone would have had to pay for it, which was a really cool idea, and the streamers got a metric fuckload of money.
Right.
But with this, you're like, okay, well, what is Blizzard trying to gain from this? Because it's clearly not popularity, because no one is going to just like shit out $15 for nothing.
Right.
2.5 of that is going to the streamer, and most of what is left is going to Amazon. So, like, how much is Blizzard getting from this as well?
Right.
Well, it doesn't make sense.
I would also like to say that even within the selection of like streamers that they selected for this, man, there's some really like getting shafted on this, like that. Giving it to people like XQC and Seagull, completely understand, even if they don't play much Overwatch anymore. But they're also giving it
like regardless of like how often they've played the game, they are very important to the game's history. So I understand them reaching out and being like, "Hey, listen,
but
water on the bridge.
Yeah,
here you go."
But at the same time, they have people like Asmongold and T-Pain.
How many times have they played Overwatch? It's like, yeah, I've played before. It's like, sure, buddy, you're in.
It's just like, what the hell? And yeah,
what's an Overwatch?
Yeah,
what is that? Isn't that game dead?
Yeah, and the other thing, actually, I'm looking at this. I don't think I see Sideshow on this. If Sideshow was on this, I might have actually considered it. But no. The other, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but like Blizzard is walking the line right now with China. This is kind of an off-topic thing that I just want to talk about very quickly. They are walking the line with China right. Yeah.
What have they done?
So Diablo Immortal looks like it even though it was designed for the Chinese market, looks like it might not end up being released in China.
Oh yeah, it was deemed too predatory for the Chinese market, which honestly, that is just like impressive almost.
Well, it was two things. First, it was that. That was the first thing that they were considering as a reason to not allow it. The other reason is because the person who runs the account for them on Chinese social media for the game tweeted a post criticizing, Winnie the Pooh. And so, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Imagine having your entire game just completely get banned for just because the social media guy makes a post about, the great leader.
So, I would just like to say, this guy gets the GigaChat award because with one post, with like one Chinese Twitter post, he might have just caught, or he probably will have just caused Blizzard billions. Yeah, this guy gets an award.
Dude, there's no way they spent millions on Immortals, dude.
No. I'm not saying it'll.
Potential millions is what you should say.
No. I'm saying it'll cost them billions in terms of future income that they would have gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No more. No. Yeah. That's just Diablo Immortals is. I'm surprised they even tried to go through with it, and then only to have it fail on two fronts.
Yep.
One, the game is so predatory; it costs more than $10,000 to upgrade one of your 200 characters.
Yep.
And then two, the social media guy.
Honestly, that guy gets an award.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
Yeah, I think we were about to go to the next one.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
So, a topic that very many people are just livid about. Especially the competitive community. And we know what we think about the competitive community, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're the special little ones.
They're a special bunch.
Yeah, but a lot of them want an MMR reset. I don't know what they're smoking, but that's not always the best idea, but not doing one at all is also not a good idea.
Yeah.
You see, here's the thing, lads. We have to keep in mind how much of a nightmare Overwatch was when Roll Q came about. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's still not resolved. I'm
it's still not cool.
Still in
it's
the
still
wrong
not good.
ranks.
Like we have to consider that we probably needed even a soft one for Roll Q to have an entirely new game, and to not do one is a bit batshit insane, and I'm scared.
Dude, I can't wait for the EVA placements where she'll be placing 4.8k on damage.
Wait, explain. How is that even possible?
Her MMR currently for all her roles are capped at max SR.
How?
Well, because she never plays them.
But I thought there was decay.
There's not. There's no decay.
Oh.
You see, for those at home who might not understand, an MMR is basically your very secret point system, right? That you don't get to see, but that Overwatch starts to generate as you play the game. So, for example, and it's kind of like your average, right? So
Right.
if you, on average, are a gold player, it's the reason why even after playing winning all of your competitive placements, right, you still end up in gold. If you average in gold, you're probably going to be smacked down in there. And it's the same thing for if you average in, say, diamond or any of the higher ones, you know what I mean?
The higher
So
ones
that
are a bit
means-
more complicated because they purposely fuck the SR up, but it really stands usually the game will place you at a certain MMR or SR, and it's yeah, you're around here, and we'll get you there eventually.
It's why I specify that your MMR is kind of like your base average across all the, not including specifics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of roughly you are roughly here from what we can gather, and we don't get to see it.
Excluding
visual-
hero and map specifics, they will suggest that that player would be around that.
Right.
So
Yeah, lowering that especially after roll queue, should probably have been a priority. Just like getting people down so they can, they won't fuck up the system. Because for the longest time, for like a good 2.5 years after roll queue, has it been 2.5 years?
Oh God,
I don't even know.
I think
3 years, hasn't it?
it came out. It came out with Sigma around the same time as Sigma.
that
And
must be
that's
3
been-
years.
So yeah, about 3 years.
That's,
Okay,
that's 3
so-
years.
For a good 2 years, I have been in Masters, a rank I should not have been at on DPS. I was in Grandmaster on Tank. Again, not the SR I should have been at on Tank.
Mm.
I was on Grandmaster on Support, which is the rank I should have been at the time.
Right.
But therefore, I got placed in Grandmaster on all of them. So
Right.
that really sucked because I kind of had to lose my way down to Diamond on DPS.
Ooh.
And
Which isn't fun for the people you're playing with, who
that's not
might
fun for the
actually
people playing with me. That's not fun for me. That's not fun for anyone.
anyone in this situation.
No.
And the thing is, that takes time. Guys, it takes time to get back to your level, and to be honest, you're going to be dragging everyone with you.
You want to know something pretty horrible?
What?
I can kind of estimate how many games it took me to get to the correct SR.
Oh, how many? I'm scared.
Yeah, it's a. So an Overwatch match is like between like 10 and 25 minutes, right?
Right.
Now imagine a good 370 of those
Oh no.
to get to the
Oh.
correct SR.
Oh, honey.
It was
Oh,
only a
no.
difference of 500 SR, luckily. Like
That's-
700-ish SR, but again, the fact that I had to drop 2 SR per like hour is pretty stupid.
Mm, that's fun.
Because I would
So-
win enough games to extend that for long enough, right?
Right.
I couldn't just turbo throw my way down to Diamond.
Right.
I was just kind of playing like normal. And in Masters and
you were just-
above, in Masters
You were
and
just
above, you
doing your
don't.
best.
Masters and above fucking sucks, by the way, because you don't win and lose more SR based on your performance.
Right. Yeah, I feel like once you get above like mid plat, the MMR system just starts to like
It starts to shit itself.
it starts to kind of make itself sad. Just-
And then you're in GM, right? You're like,
Yep.
oh, dude, I'm very cool. I'm 4,200 at the end of the season. I'm big chilling right here. Next season rolls around, you're back at 3,900 because that's where the SR caps. But your MMR still is 4,200, and so is everyone else's. Your games are the same, but your SR on average is lower.
great.
So, what you get is the first month of the season is miserable for everyone.
Right.
And then the last 2 weeks are miserable for everyone because everyone just starts throwing the last 2 weeks. So at the end of the day, you have 1 week of valid play, but you will have to have played a month before that to get at the actual SR you're supposed to be at
What
again.
the hell? And Ness, what did you say is like the gates of hell? At,
There's
in
like
GM?
2 or 3 actual gates of hell in Overwatch. One of them is 2,900. Probably most of the community. Yeah, most of the community has probably seen 2,900 or experienced it, like with someone of their like, friend group. It's like, welcome to hell.
I've built
It's actual purgatory.
I've built a house and started a family.
Yeah, no, most people tend to do that there. It's what I like to call a borderline rank.
Yeah.
There's another one which is around 3,750, where it's just really a good coin flip rank, where either your team turbo throws or the enemy team turbo throws so hard they manage to win.
Right.
There's all sorts of players, like in 2,900, you'll get the guy on weed, you'll get the guy on alcohol, you get the guy on both of those, you get the guy on heroin somehow, and it's just a very it's a comfort rank for a lot of people. It's one where the people in GM don't have to try, but the people from below there try so hard they manage to almost do it.
Yeah. It's
And then you have the higher up version of that, which is 4100, which is just miserable for everyone. You have the 4.5k Widow Smurfs insta-sniping every support in the lobby, because they're normally from that rank. You have the tank player that probably hasn't played Overwatch since 2016. Who just was like, you know what? Let's throw a game on Roadhog so I can queue DPS. It's just misery around there, and it's like if you're below there, it's fine. If you're above there, it's fine. If you're in 4100, my God, you're just gonna get farmed by the worst players, and you're farming the worst players for eternity, permanently winning 24 and losing 25 SR until you manage to make your way out.
What were you gonna say, Jazz?
So that's actually the perfect the perfect reason why I am so terrified of the fact that like Overwatch 2 is not having like any sort of like change to the oh
they're
god
gonna
to the
change
MMR.
the rank system. They're gonna divide it into more ranks.
Yeah.
Especially higher up, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right?
Do you know how much of a difference there is in quality of play in like GM, even between 50 to 100 SR differences? You just notice so much of a difference.
Yeah. What's
before we get sidetracked? Can I finish the little point that I had? So this is the reason why I'm terrified of this, right? Because you're going to have people. You see, the thing is about like roll queue, right? We also saw how much of a nightmare that ended up being without any sort of like reset or like soft like changing or just lowering it just overall, right?
Mm-hmm.
For everyone. And we saw how much of a nightmare that will be, right? We have to consider there's going to be a whole hero missing. There's going to be brand new heroes that no one has played, including the 3 that have been announced, and also, if you count them, like Doomfist and Orisa, which I technically do because they're just so drastically different from their current iteration.
Bastion's quite a bit different too, but who
Bastion
out here
as
playing
well?
Bastion?
Exactly. Who's playing Bastion?
Well, you get my point that like we have brand new heroes, brand new maps, brand new two new game modes. Then we have like everything, all of this content, right? Brand new content.
Yep.
And then on top of that, we're gonna have people rushing back to Overwatch 2 because they after not having played Overwatch in like maybe like
5 years since 2017 pre-roll queue.
Exactly, because like let me tell you, those people did not like rush over to roll queue. No one was like exactly like that wasn't like generating buzz. It was good for the people who were actually playing, but of course it's not going to attract people like all the new content of Overwatch 2. You know what I mean? Right. So that means we're going to have not only, and it's free to play as well. Keep that in mind. So we're going to have an influx of old players, new players, and current players all rushing to just surrounding Overwatch 2. And then there's not going to be any sort of reset to the system. And that's terrifying to me. My God, that's going to be a nightmare for months for no reason. Yay. And the thing is that we still don't know a whole bunch about like the changes to competitive. So I do want to be realistic. I do want to be optimistic, but I can't help but look at this and be like, guys, this is a very obvious problem here. Oh my God.
Right.
Do we not notice the like very obvious thing of like this is going to be, and also I'm not even finished. This is also a brand new game, right? This is meant to be
game.
Like
the new rule sets, everything.
Exactly, and like why are you bringing like old ranks to the new game? Like that doesn't make sense. That's like how do I explain this? It's kind of like if you played Pokemon, right? Mm-hmm. If you just by like opening the new game, you suddenly got all the badges. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's quite like that, but it's okay. Well, for those who have played Pokemon competitive, it's like bringing your team from one game to another game, just expecting it to perform exactly the same.
It's like it's like bringing a Polytoad Rain team from Gen 5 and carrying it into Gen 7 and expecting it to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why I specifically
actually, it's like
badges,
carrying
right?
it into Gen 8, where half the Pokemon don't exist.
Good, yeah, that too.
The reason why I specifically said badges, right, is because badges are like a necessary kind of like main like component of like playing the game. Like you have to get the end, content, which is mostly like, the battles, etc.,
Yeah.
battle towers, etc. You have to get all the badges. Then you go through the Elite Four, etc. So you have to do something basic to get to the good shit. So that's exactly the reason why I said like, so you're just getting like points for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's exactly what I'm thinking. That like, oh god, it's just going to be a nightmare, and I'm
There's
so
a
scared.
singular saving grace, right? And that is that they said, we probably won't do an MMR reset, and we will add a decay thing. It's like, okay, but will the decay thing decay SR or MMR?
Yeah.
Because you've done SR decay before, and that hasn't gone well, because you remove that, and then the MMR decay doesn't decay your MMR, it just puts you back to 3900.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it's just.
Ness, remind me, what is that kind of like cutoff point in GM where it's like you've gone from like GM player to like pro, semi-pro? Like, what's that number?
The cutoff point for that, like the like big fucking the crazy gamer to pro player, that cutoff point is like 3,300.
Yeah,
not 4,300. Sorry.
Yeah, like
if you pass 43, you're correct. If you pass 44, you're probably in the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Like, on a consistent basis, of course. Like, I've passed 44, and I'm not there, and I wasn't good enough to be there.
Yeah, so like that's like the point that separates the flats from the, I don't know, who was that?
Well, they will consistently get
tank
that
in the
high
Overwatch League?
because I don't know. Yeah, who's a good example for the Overwatch League? Obviously not Chipsa. I'm better than Chipsa. He really should never have joined,
No, but
honestly.
I love how before this episode began, I said, "Guys, does this look okay? Do the topics look okay?" And literally Ness went, "Yeah, it doesn't look too controversial."
No,
And
we should
here
always
he
just
is.
mention Chipsa. That was a mistake.
Oh, OGE. That was it. OGE. He was the absolutely bonkers tank player.
No. Super's a bonkers tank player.
Okay, so yeah, the 43 is what separates the flats from the super.
No, that like 43, 44. Like, flats will consistently play around 42.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But he can make his way to 47 if he wants to.
Holy shit!
Well, flats has been 47, I think.
What an absolute lunatic.
But, like, he only gets there if he really tries super hard for it, and he's actually grind his brain out.
Right.
And, yeah, it's miserable. Even for a pro player, it's miserable to grind ranked for Overwatch.
Anyways, yes,
Let's go to the next
MMR reset. A soft one would be nice.
So, now, on to the next topic. And that is that some people, some incredibly intelligent, sponge-brained minds have come to the conclusion that not having comp in the beta is not good for the game. And I don't know how they got there. It's a beta. The queue times already suck ass. Clearly, the matchmaking sucked ass. Because people are, like me, I'm being put in, like, plat games, masters games, gold games. I'm being put in any game, dude. I don't think they care.
I ended up in a game with Gale yesterday.
Yeah, we ended up in a game with Gale, Neandra.
Yeah. No, I did it without you. I ended up in a game with Gale without you.
He's washed anyway, so I'm gonna be real. But
so, like, that's terrifying.
MMR is kind of just all over the place for the beta, and they're requesting, guys, just put comp in. Just put comp in. What could go wrong? Like, okay.
Before I say my opinion, Astro, weren't you seen on an EVA video?
Neandra.
A Neandra video.
Neandra video.
Oh, it was Oh, okay.
Why do you sound like you're under a pillow?
Am I?
Yeah, you sound
Oh,
like...
no,
Yeah,
not more... No,
You're like
not
toggling
again.
back and forth between muffled and normal.
Oh, no, not again.
Okay, now you're
Hold
good.
on.
Good now.
That sounds good now.
Okay, I'll just stand here then.
I hope it stays good. Wait, what's happening with over there then?
I don't know. Just like I'm telling you, my internet is perfectly fine. So I'm assuming it's the internet or something. I don't
The
know.
microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, true. I'm just basically recording this on my phone. This is the reason why I sound like dog shit
Oh, okay.
most of the time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But,
Again, I can't afford a microphone outside of work, so
that's fair.
That's okay.
But yeah, I ended up in a Neandra video. As a
Being public.
as a background character.
I like how you not only are in like one of the few clips where Neandra pulls out the Glock, you managed to draw.
No, I beat her. I killed her.
Oh, yeah, but you die immediately after.
But not from her.
True, you die from like Junker Queen tick damage.
Yeah.
That 90% of the damage was done by her though. That's real.
Yes, that's true.
You were killed by knife callback damage. That's 15.
Yep. So yes, I was a background character. It was quite funny. I watched the video and I was like, wait, why am I in this? Because Ian, wish Ian was there. Ness and I were in this game and it was an absolute shit show. I felt like David felling Goliath when I killed this Mercy chilling in a room with a Junkrat. That was kind of a strange moment. And I don't know how I got in this video. I watched it and I just put in a comment, "Hi, this is the Ash. I have no fucking clue how I got here." So, and I got a heart for it, so.
Aw, yay.
Let's get a very tiny mention of just like, oh, there's no comp in beta. Ian, what is your stance on this? They already made quick play pretty much comp.
I mean, when I see like very competitive focused people talking about, oh, they need comp in the beta, like I just perceive it as these are people who fundamentally exist in a different world from people like myself at the very least. Like, their understanding of what's important to the game, what's entertaining about the game, what's important and works, and all that stuff is different. Our realms just happen to overlap in this piece of software called Overwatch. Like, that's it. Like, their idea of what makes Overwatch good is so different that, like, me trying to say, like, no, there should or shouldn't be comp, it's, like, pointless. Because I'm like, I don't think there's any need for it. Obviously, these people think there is a need for it. And I don't think like I could ever convince them of my opinion, or they could ever convince me of theirs, basically.
It's a very small...
just playing the same game, but have completely different perspectives on what's important and how it should run.
Yeah, these are the people who like snort SR. Like...
Yeah. And like, I'm not gonna say that's bad.
No.
It's just completely different perspectives on the game. So like, when they say we need competitive in the beta, I'm like, I'm sure you would love competitive in the beta. I don't think you'd be wrong in that, like, oh, they got competitive and they'd ultimately be unhappy and they like don't know what they want or anything like that. I think they know what they want. They just want something completely different than
they want to win and lose internet points.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe if you want to put it that way.
They want the funny number to go up.
Or down.
No, they don't usually want it to go down.
No, but like, it's the thrill of it going down that means it could go back up.
Oh, that's not usually the way I see it.
No, that's the way streamers see it. There's no way I could like sanely stream this game for hours. Like, I lose one game and I'm out.
Yeah, same. But yeah, no, it's it's an interesting bunch. It's who was it that was ranting about it? It was like Symmetra, right? Yeah, that figures.
Yeah, on maybe Flats as well.
Really, Flats would surprise me. Symmetra...
Flats supported Symmetra in that opinion, but he didn't like go much further than like, yeah, that'd probably be good for the game.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's just like, man, I can't remember the last time Symmetra had a like logical thought that he had put out onto the internet, so it wasn't really that surprising.
His thoughts are often like covered in gunk. Like, if you get the gunk off there, sometimes they make sense.
Yeah.
Other times they make less sense.
Right. At least it's not
I saw
Chipsa.
so. I did see someone very interesting say that, like, SVB.
Yes.
He's kind of like, yeah, he's kind of like Sumito's translator.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
That's also how I view him, actually.
And it's actually a very good idea because, like, he does have good ideas. He does have kernels of good ideas, and I think he just has like a certain way of like phrasing it, or maybe doesn't consider a few like perspectives or just object truths, unfortunately. So like about like game design, etc., that kind of like blocks him. But then like SCV kind of like comes through the rescue and kind of like translates it, and also like kind of like informs him of something. And he goes, "Oh yeah."
Oh
So
yeah,
that's
that's what
kind
I
of
mean. Yeah, that's usually
Yeah.
how those go in their podcast.
Yep.
It's just Sumito screaming on a just unmedicated ADHD, and then Frito and SVB translate it.
Right. Man,
So
what a trio.
before I launch into my opinions, right?
Yeah.
I want to like I want to like lay down the rules that like I don't like mocking people. I don't like calling people stupid. I don't like getting mad, etc., etc. I don't like ranting, right? Because
Yeah.
here I am. It's just a game. It's only a game. Why you have to be mad? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's always been my viewpoint. But however, I see why is there no comp in Overwatch 2 beta, and I just see red. I don't compute. Lads, this is a beta. It's only going to be here for like 3 weeks and it's gone. And it's also like comp is being like, again, they released an entire video saying that like, oh yeah, comp is changing for this, and a whole bunch of other reasons that we're not going to share right now because they're not finished, right? And then people are like, why isn't comp here? And I'm like, guys, because it's not, it's a beta.
Right.
Read the thing, read the title. It's a beta. What do you expect?
Yeah,
I don't
That's
know.
how I view it, and it's like it just seems so strange to me. Not that like people do necessarily think it's important to have comp in the beta, but just like, what is their perspective? Like, if only I could go into their mind and like see how they see the game to understand why they're so fixated on competitive. Like, I just find it fascinating more than anything.
Yeah, I don't understand why people look at something that's going to be here for exactly like max 3 weeks. That's going through heavy changes, such as like Mercy GA and Symmetra, which we will get to. Okay,
Yes.
we will get to, and like Junker Queen, etc., and be like, but where's comp? Like,
Right.
You want that in your comp game?
No.
Huh?
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, the competitive community already complains about a competitive integrity just being out the window already, just in Overwatch in general. And then they're like, but where's the comp mode, guys? Where's the comp mode for Overwatch 2, guys? When can I play the comp mode for the beta that's up for 3 weeks?
Now, granted, I don't think the whole like MMR reset thing helps, right? Because
Right.
you're
No.
just admitting that like the transition from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 competitively does not matter for some odd reason. We don't know why. So I don't think this helps. However, again, we're talking about a beta. A beta, guys. But like, what's the purpose in having like SR for like 3 weeks?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand. Like, sure. Again. Anyway, that's all. That's my mini rant done.
Yeah, I
on the
think it
topic.
has to do with like people's perception of the game when they're playing it. Like if you queue into quick play or unranked or whatever they call it, and like it's even in the beta or whatever, it's like you go into that thinking, oh yeah, I'm playing to test out a new hero, playing to see the new maps, just see what it feels like 5v5. There's tons of just casual reasons why someone would go into the unranked quick play mode. But then competitive, if you queue into competitive, you're going to play serious. You're going to know what you're doing. You're going to try to win. You're going to fixate on that goal of just getting the victory. And I think these people who want there to be competitive in the beta are very focused on this idea that there needs to be a competitive because otherwise they're going to get in matches with people who aren't necessarily fixated on purely winning. Which I like, that makes sense, but at the same time, again, there's so many other drawbacks.
Has
Splitting
comp
up the
ever been like
queues,
that,
the
though?
increased queue time, that as well. Yeah, the fact that there's always people in competitive. who
Dude,
just aren't
Torb
playing
Clicker
properly
81 in my
competitive.
comp game really wants to win, actually.
Torb.
Yeah, like it's not even a perfect system in the live game. Which is why,
And
to
also-
me, it seems silly to want to fixate so much on putting competitive in beta, because I just don't think the benefits and rewards they're expecting to get from that are really gonna be there, or be there to a degree that it's even worth doing. Basically,
I'm insultedness. The insinuation that just because someone picks Torb means they're throwing. Because I absolutely can tell you when I lock in the gnome, I am absolutely aiming to clap people.
I'm not saying they don't want to win. I'm saying they probably don't have winning as the first thing in their mind.
Oh no, it's the first thing on my mind, because all I want to do is run in there and just smack people with the right click.
That's the first thing in your mind. That's not winning.
Okay, that's actually fair.
I don't think clapping cheeks as Torb is exactly winning. Well, maybe it is.
I mean, you're winning in your book.
It's winning.
I mean, in a way, you're winning,
The
but I don't think literally you are winning.
You're winning, but it may say defeat at the end. So, like, who's really losing here?
funny kills is winning in my book. As long
Yeah.
as the kill is funny, it's a win for me.
Now, just before we scooch over to the next topic, right?
Yep.
I just want to ask like a very basic, genuine question, right? As
Right.
someone who plays on console and who rarely ever gets a PC to play on like any Overwatch things, right?
Right.
Does the PTR have competitive?
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I
It
played
never
PTR.
had competitive, I don't think.
no, I don't think it did.
I think you could
Okay.
queue for it, but the servers just weren't up either.
Okay. Leading to my next question. Okay.
See,
No competitive in PTR equates to fine. No competitive in beta equates to not fine. Why?
oh guys, it's different because that one's a technical test, and like that's the same one.
Because monkey brain.
It's basically an extended PTR. This right here, they're still testing shit. That scoreboard changed 3 times.
Yeah.
I need someone, genuinely, I'm asking this to the viewers. If you are someone who wants comp in beta, I am genuinely asking you to comment down below the reasons why. Because the way I see it, the beta is just a very fancy dancy PTR that we are experiencing for a certain amount of time until the official release date. And obviously we will get to have comp in that official release date. So I don't know why you want it now, unless you just kind of like are just impatient, which is fine. To be honest, at this point, if you're impatient, that's perfectly valid.
All right.
We've been waiting a very long time,
I'll
but I'm very curious about it.
all 6 of you get typing.
All 6 of you. I better be seeing you down there.
And if you're not typing about that, then let's type about this instead. Symmetra being actual fucking dog water.
What have they done?
So, let's get the story out here, right? Blizzard makes a post. Again, usually doesn't go well.
Usually this is the first red flag.
Yeah, that's the first red flag. They make a post. Oh god, it's about an Overwatch hero. Oh shit. So, Symmetra was going to see some minor changes to help her in the 5v5 environment. Now, let's mention that her statistics for Overwatch 2, though her pick rate was probably the lowest one, below Bastion even, her win rate was a good 70%,
Right.
which is something they did highlight in their statistics roundup,
What a surprise.
as you may remember from the last time we talked about this. Because she's only picked on maps where she's good, and like there's
By
very
people
few
who play
players
her.
playing her.
Yeah.
And, well, that's really cool and all, right? The devs did acknowledge that she may not be up to snuff for the 5v5 mechanic, right?
Right.
Because it relies on a lot of team play, it's really slow, and the game's a lot faster now. So what did they do? Okay, so they made her turrets kill them slower, they made her weapon do less damage, they made her teleporter cooldown longer, and they made the range shorter.
Yep. She
Good
is.
job, Blizzard. You've done it again. But you did increase the projectile speed, which only fucks up literally everyone who has ever played her.
She literally has a lower total damage
ADR.
lower ADR than Mercy's pistol.
Yeah.
Both fires, by the way, both modes.
Except if you're fully charged on your beam, but like that happens twice every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her having damage like comparable to Brig in the DPS slot while having far worse utility at a cooldown 3 times longer than any support will ever have their cooldowns. It's just not really a vibe.
No.
And they also took away the fact that she gains, like, she used to gain ammo from shooting barriers, because that was the whole thing. Like, oh, if you shoot barriers, you're basically you're going neutral on ammo, or like you gain ammo almost.
Neutral usually.
And that was a cool mechanic, you know. You can still charge your beam now off of barriers, but it takes ammo. Like the mechanic was removed.
Right.
Which, again, that's just... Why are you removing that? That didn't hurt anyone. There was, like, one Rhine player ever mad about that.
And also keep in mind, Sojourn has pretty much the same ability, and it's staying.
Sojourn does the same thing, but instead of gaining charge and gaining ammo,
she gains
the
ability
notable
to
part about
one-shot
the
you.
Shin Beam is that she gained ammo, which is nothing in Overwatch. No one cares about their ammo. Sojourn gains insta-kills
Yep.
off the barrier.
I mean, yeah, the only time I was ever scared of the fact that Sim could get charge off the barrier was just like, you know, Sigma. Because it was just like, I placed the barrier and I'm just like, oh shit, I'm bad against beams already. It's just, you know, it was that whole thing. But besides that, nah, she was never threatening with that.
Yeah,
And even
I
against
noticed
Sigma.
I noticed how that's quite niche. You know what I mean? That's that's not happening all too recently, and I especially don't understand, like, when they're making barriers rare, they just made the hero worse. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I'm back at it again. I'm ranting again, lads.
Just go,
I'm so
Jazz.
sorry.
Just go.
I'm so sorry, lads.
Actually,
What do they say nowadays? Spill the tea or something like that?
Spill the tea, lass.
Oh, I'm spilling. I'm just flooding the ocean at this stage. It's now Boston Tea Party all over
Yeah.
again.
We've
Like,
knocked over the
I wanna
ocean at this point.
I want to point out, right, and I've said this before in an episode, that Symmetra was changed from. She has been continuously changed from Symmetra 1, Symmetra 2, and Symmetra 3, right? She has had 3 reworks in total.
Arguably being
So
worse
far.
every time.
Asterisk so far.
Oh boy.
Never discount Sims 4.
Yep.
But anyway,
Specifically around when they were making Sims 3, right?
Yep.
The developers themselves, I'm not, like, you know, putting words in their mouth, they specifically said this, that they were really disappointed that she never got airplay in the Overwatch League. And they're going to rework Symmetra again, because they want to make her more kind of, what's the word?
General.
What's the
not general, but kind of like
More playable.
she would be used more playable. Basically, she'd be less niche,
Yeah.
right? So they reworked her for a third time into the attack category, and this is where we get into conversations about, like, you know, her
Damage,
beam
but
and
yeah.
stuff like that. And I've always said that, like, I've never minded the beam so long as they had, like, other heroes that didn't require aim, because I think that's important for the game, because, like, Overwatch is meant to be diverse and meant to be played for, like, different skill sets, and also aim does not equate to skill necessarily. There's a whole bunch of anyway, everyone understands this. Okay, good. I don't need to rehash it, right? So this is what they have said, the statement of Sim, right? Sim 3, that's the purpose of her, to make her more general, more powerful, and more useful to the game. That's the reason why they pushed her to
Especially more
attack.
useful at high level, is what they noted.
Yeah, so she would be played in Overwatch League, because, to be honest, having, like, an entire league happen,
and for a whole hero just to never have, like, 1 minute of play is pretty bad, right? We could all agree on this.
So
That
why
happened
is
with
it
multiple
at every
characters.
single... No, Sim was the only one.
she had not a single
with
second?
no play at all.
She was the
In the
only hero
Overwatch
to
League.
ever not see play in any point in
Right,
Overwatch League.
right,
However,
okay.
the last
Now that-
few
that was
times the Overwatch League happened, I think last season, she actually saw quite a decent amount of play.
Again, that
And-
was with That was with Sim 3. This is with the reworked. This is the reason for the rework. Is that okay?
She only saw play like 2 years after that rework.
Yeah, and the only reason
God.
the only reason she sees play now is that just to place the teleporter to get a faster rollout at the beginning of the round, and then they just swap to another DPS.
No, I can go a bit deeper on this because I actually know the theory behind this because I played during and near that meta competitive level.
Yeah.
So there'll be 3 or 4 reasons to pick Sim. One, it's just a Sim map like Hanamura or Lijiang Towers. It's just a map that Sim is incredibly good on. You'd always pick her on those maps. You are just the Dallas Fuel. You are somehow playing dive with Sim.
Right.
And they somehow managed that. It worked really well at the start of the season, and then it kind of petered out. But it did get her pick rate to not be worse than Bastion's somehow in Overwatch League. You want to spawn, and you don't think that your Lucio speed boost combination will get you to point faster than the opponent, and being fast actually gives you a big advantage there. Let's say on Nepal Shrine.
Yeah.
Where if you are first, you're probably going to hold that for the rest of the map. So you would Sim TP, the Sim player would then swap to, I don't know, like Echo after the TP, and then after the TP, the support player would amp speed, and you would be first on point.
Right. Yep.
But you would be missing a DPS player for like 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
It's negligible. But then both teams do it, and then whoever does that better gets the slight advantage. So it's a big thing. But Sim actually saw play because of that. It was a very dumb amount of play. Like, the play that she did see was for, like, funny gimmicks. Lijiang Towers being just her best map in general, or what was it again? It's like getting strange respawns or strange start of round spawns.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a very niche hero that was played for a lot of gimmicky reasons, but it did see play on a notable amount of maps. And then they were like, you know what? This is too bad. Let's nerf it again. There was a point where she saw consistent competitive play in Double Shield at the start of Double Shield, pretty much.
Oh, I'll get to there in a second. Don't you worry.
Where they nerfed her beam damage for no reason, and her beam width, and they made her beam width not scale while she was doing damage, and that completely killed her. Like, the only point where she would actually see meta-relevant play, they nerfed her. And once again, the only time her win rate has been high, they nerfed her, even though she has not been relevant.
So that's exactly why I'm kind of getting a little heated. This is an episode of like where I'm just furious. I don't even know why.
Just go ahead.
Apparently. So as I said, they specifically made Sim 3 to be a little more playable,
Viable.
general, viable. You know what I mean? All these good words, right? And all they have done to Sim 3 is nerf her, and nerf her for seemingly no reason. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not like a Brig situation or a Mercy situation where the kit has gone way out of hand. You know what I mean? There's absolutely like no reasons for her nerfs.
Like, there was
Like,
no
no
point
discernible-
where Symmetra was ever tearing up the meta because of her numbers.
The only time I could ever think of, right, is during Double Shield. And to be honest, that is such a specific meta for Sim to work. I just don't understand the thought process of like, oh, this incredibly niche hero that has been suffering since Overwatch's very concept, its release. Yeah, we'll just nerf her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's too strong. What do you mean? Who? What? Where?
There were also some few additional, like, worse notes you could take on that meta, right? So not only was she only viable during Double Shield, but she was only viable with certain comps on Double Shield on certain maps.
Exactly. Like, it just
And
does not.
she was the only thing making that comp any fun to play on those maps.
And here's the thing, right? I never really saw it that much of an issue, to be honest. Mainly because, you know, as a Sim player, you probably shouldn't be upfront and personal with people all the time. You know, she's kind of like mid to front, if you know what I mean. She's
Yeah.
kind of in that like gray area. You know what I mean. So
She's
when
a
I said
utility
like, oh, the
poker
show,
until you like force support her.
yeah, exactly. So she's kind of like, in an ironic way, you kind of need another shield hero to have her back. You know what I mean? Because that's, you know, haha, funny irony. It's good. When the story helps the gameplay, that's great.
Yeah.
So, so here's the thing, lads. I don't understand why, with this history, they looked at Sim and thought, wow, she's kind of suffering in Overwatch 2. Let's nerf her some more.
Yeah.
And I think
I
think
like
that
how they
means-
thought, you know, she's really like shit at close range. She's kind of decent at mid range, and her long range is terrible. But you know, like none of her kit accommodates for long range. Let's buff her long range only, and then nerf everything else.
yeah.
It's like on what plane of existence does that one make sense?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I feel like because of my lackadaisical reaction towards the beam shortening and other players, sim players, lackadaisical reaction to beam shortening, everyone just kind of went, this is fine. It's whatever. It makes the hero more difficult. But to be honest, if you're playing sim, you're already like 3 steps away from being a masochist. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's like playing
I'll give it.
basketball.
I'll give it a good like analogy, right? It's like reworking Farah's kit to focus around her melee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like buffing Widow's grappling hook so that she could hook players into her.
Yep.
That doesn't work.
It's back
It
again.
actively works
It's
against
back again
her.
with it's back again with the math problem, right? I keep on like looking at I feel like I should have like a whiteboard, you know what I mean, with my crazy like trying to
Just a bunch
figure
of
this out.
threads
You know what I mean?
everywhere.
Exactly, trying to solve the MMR stuff and the beta and comp and I just sim worse in Overwatch 2, therefore nerf. I don't understand.
Join the
don't get
club
it.
with Ian with the cork board with all the red strings.
Yeah,
Ian,
Ian,
let's
I
go.
actually want to
Let's
hear your
collab.
opinion on the sim shenanigans.
What's Jazz's? Yeah.
Could you-
Oh yeah, I'm finished. I
Okay.
just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have nothing to contribute to this one, basically.
Okay.
I
That's
don't
fair.
play Sim ever, so
Man.
I cannot speak to how she's changed.
I have a soft spot for sim.
I have nothing to say on it, so I'll just let you guys handle that one.
Fair enough.
Will you
I
have
will
more to
say
say
this.
about the next one, though?
Hold on, before we move on, I do want to point out like some good spots, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I don't want to be I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I only want to be that sometimes. So I want to shout out that like Symmetra had the greatest like aesthetical glow up between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2.
Oh yeah.
Period. Point blank, nothing else. Mic drop. Like you cannot contest this. She looks fabulous. Her animation and her attacks. Oh my god, they're so gorgeous and so beautiful. My eyes kind of hurt.
Mm-hmm.
No, they
And
are
oh-
amazing.
There's only one
Yeah,
of them
and I
that I
want to-
have issue with, but that's
Oh?
that's on the receiving end. Like from her perspective, everything looks perfect, right? The teleporter really aesthetic. The beams look really cool, but there's one problem. On the receiving end, her turret beams are just completely invisible. Like you don't know when you're being attacked by Sim.
Oh.
Oh,
That's the only
that's
problem.
interesting.
With
Is it a bug? Is it a bug
No,
or
it's
an
not a
actual,
bug. Like they are there. I reviewed the footage. It's there. It's just really difficult to notice.
Oh. Well, I do know one of the VHX artists, right? His name is Joshua Reed. And I want to give him a good shout out because I saw his Twitter thread basically going play by play about like how he wanted like her attacks to look and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, bravo, man. I think they look gorgeous. And I think you should get like a round of applause. And maybe if you point that out to him, like about the turrets, because again, beautiful thing about a beta is that like you can kind of like give this feedback back to the people. You know what I mean? If you
Right.
contact him in some, maybe in that Twitter thread and say, hey, by the way, just to let you know, on the receiving end, the turrets kind of look a bit difficult to see, and that might impact gameplay.
Only the
They
third
might
beams.
genuinely change that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the turret beams are a bit difficult to spot as an enemy player, and the teleporter is slightly harder to notice as an enemy too. Because in Overwatch 1, you could really easily tell the direction that the turret is going, because there's like a bunch of particles going that direction, right?
Right.
Their color is ever so slightly more orange and less red, which makes it harder to notice as a player on the enemy team.
Oh, okay.
Because it blends into the backgrounds a lot more. A lot of Overwatch is orange, if you've noticed.
Yeah.
Especially Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Overwatch 1 is very orange too.
There's just a lot of orange.
A lot of orange in real life too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I do
But
have
anyway,
one thing to mention regarding the visual effects, unless Jazz, you had something else you wanted to tack on.
I just wanted to. What was I going to say? Oh fuck! I lost my train of thought. Oh well, you go ahead.
All right, I'll take over. I'll hook that car up to my train instead, and whatever analogies. So I think the visual effects are phenomenal for Symmetra. Like, truly, these are perhaps the best visual effects we've ever seen a hero have in Overwatch.
Mhm.
With like the prism and the lighting and like the rainbow effect you get, it looks phenomenal. But it's sort of weird because she's the only character that's really gotten something like that. So now she just sort of sticks out as like this almost like aesthetically detached character where it's like her abilities look really cool, but they don't really match the rest of the game anymore. If you know what I mean by that.
They look aesthetically almost a bit too distinct.
Yes,
That
which
was
like
almost too
okay,
good.
there's some validity there in terms of the character. Obviously, these are very unique visual effects for her character and her skill set and abilities, but just it feels like okay, so this was clearly something that the devs very specifically and deliberately focused on and wanted to look good, but now it's just sort of progressed past what the rest of Overwatch is. So it just feels like a weird sort of standout visual exception that doesn't feel like it quite fits.
Oh, okay.
I would love
yeah.
if the other heroes sort of brought up in terms of just getting cooler visual effects that better for more unique or more interesting or whatever. Because as is, it just seems sort of strange that she got this huge graphical overhaul in that regard, and then nobody else got anything.
I can see
Where's
that.
my Lucio song visuals, dude?
Yeah, that would be a good one.
There's
Where's,
one thing I will mention about the Sim one that I do like, with it looking different, is that the photon projector actually looks like it is projecting light now.
Yes.
Yeah. Where's my
Light bending. Psh.
Yeah, speaking of light bending, where's my light lensing, gravitational lensing on Sigma?
There's so many things they could do for so many heroes, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they did it with Symmetra, but I would just love if they started doing it with others as well.
I think that would be more of a definitely like. I'm kind of the opinion that like for betas you have to understand that like things obviously will change in the future, but obviously get in your critiques right now so that definitely will be in like by the time the game launches.
Yeah, because right now they're
If that makes
focusing on
sense.
it. Yep.
Exactly.
I mean, definitely, we'll see. You know,
Joshua Reed.
I'm not
I
expecting
did a
every hero to
banger
have cool
job.
visuals by Overwatch 2's launch, but we'll see.
Obviously, do not bother Joshua Reed about like other heroes, but like specifically, but
Oh, this man did a banger job on Sim, and it's clear that he took the time to be like, oh, she's like this light hero, so we're gonna add like a lot of light effects, and I just really wanted to make her a lot prettier, and like to tie into her lore and her origin, and like, gosh, you do a lot. Like he added the tiniest little detail. If you melee, a little spark of light comes out of her hand.
I saw and like a little glow. It's so cute.
Like
And
a
it's
little
so-
rainbowy glow.
Yeah, it was done with so much passion and so much like dedication that you and to be honest, like as someone who has loved Sim since literally she is the reason why I got into the game because I kind of saw this fan art of Farah and Symmetra and I was like, oh, they look really cool, and I googled them. And that was the same time Anna was being released, or she had just been announced, literally that day, or something like crazy like that, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I just fell into this hole of like loving Overwatch and stuff like that. So to see her to get like so much love and like so much like passion poured into her, it makes the heart a little warm, because it just kind of makes me the nostalgia. And also, admittedly, out of all the cast members, she kind of like stood out as like someone who was a bit not underdeveloped, but she definitely wasn't the same level as like other heroes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like Symmetra, OG Symmetra and like Sombra looked very different, you know, with the amount of like effort and detail, etc., etc. So to see her get like that update and see how much care she's been, you know, how much care the artists in Overwatch have put into her, it just kind of warms the cackles of my bones.
Okay.
And kind of makes me really happy.
I get you.
You know. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say. I don't play Sim, but I can tell you for sure, she was already bad. She's basically not even a player right now. Like, if there's a Sim in the game, it's just like, well, I guess there's 4 players on that team, because she literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, I really haven't seen many people actually playing her in this beta yet. So
Aster has, but it's just been me.
Yeah, the one time I've seen a Sim be scary was in a deathmatch map, and that was it. She was absolutely dunking everyone else in the lobby, and that was it. Like, that's the one time I've ever seen a scary Sim in the beta. But yeah, that's Sim. Now to the other side, the other end of the spectrum in terms of hero popularity. Mercy. What?
Mercy just getting odd Guardian Angel changes.
What on earth is happening? They made it so that by default the super jump happens. You actually have to input something so that it doesn't happen at the end of a GA.
Yep.
I have had Mercies on my team who are either don't know about this or they're new to the game, who will try to res and then they'll just pop up into the air and the res will be canceled. And they will very clearly look incredibly confused.
Because res doesn't actually cancel your GA. It just slows you down until you're at the end of the GA.
Yeah.
So when you're at the end of it, you jump up 30 meters.
I will stand by this. I don't see the point why they ever needed to do anything with this. Like, I understand making it less janky, but like, they never needed to do anything beyond that. And just make it a fun little tech. Like,
I'm gonna be real. It looks less jank before than it does now.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, Ian, my darling, do you remember the last time we spoke about Sim? Or sorry, not Sim, Mercy. And we were talking about, like, and you mentioned a good point about, like, well, maybe it's due to consistency, right? That you see someone on YouTube being able to super jump, but, like, maybe a normal person can't. Correct?
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. And I think we see kind of like an issue with that right here, right now, with this beta. Because now that they've made super jump mandatory, it's pretty much like at the very end of your Guardian Angel, right? It's kind of forced people to use tech, like forced them to use tech to stop that ability from happening.
Yes.
So I feel like super jump, it was just something that like you could learn or on YouTube, you know, very easily, and just kind of like, if you knew it, it was very handy. But now it is like, no matter what, if this goes through, no matter what, you have to learn how to like cancel that jump.
It was skill expression.
And
skill expression. You can make the ability work like normal.
Well, yeah, but I was saying, like, originally it was skill expression. If you could do it well, that was skill expression.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never liked the
she
original
had.
though, just because it felt too janky of a mechanic.
I mean,
I'm all for skill expression with characters and being able to use techniques and strategies that only work if you really know the character and really get down how to play them. But the Guardian Angel just pop into the sky, like, it looked stupid. Like, never mind the utility of the ability, it looked terrible.
Well, tell me, what are
And it was janky as hell. Most people couldn't really do it, if they're just starting out as a normal player who hasn't spent much time on Mercy. It's just like a weird thing that just looks bad.
Well, tell me,
Like, from the game perspective, just seeing that as an element is like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, but tell me, Ian. I mean, what are your thoughts when you see, like the people who play old, like you play old Doomfist, like players like me who would just do these absolutely bonkers, just like nonsensical shit, just defies physics sort of things, like,
But none of those ever felt as extreme to me as the super jump.
Super jump can be done very often too.
Like,
That's
you can get
true.
some weird things with Doomfist where you sort of like slide up onto a ledge that it's like, okay, physically he shouldn't have been able to reach that, but like whatever. But like super jump is like, oh, this graceful angel comes flying in and then just shoots straight up into the air. It's like, what on earth? Like, it it just looks dumb. Like, it just from the experience of like playing the game and seeing it from like a visual standpoint, like Doomfist is already sort of flying around everywhere. So if he does some weird little like loopty thing and ends up on a ledge, it's like, that was weird, but okay, that's just the sort of character he is, I guess. Whereas Mercy is more of like a graceful type character, and then seeing her just launch into the air like that, it never looked right to me. It always looked janky. It always looked like something that shouldn't exist, even if it has worthwhile utility in terms of playing the game. I always wanted them to just find a better way of implementing it. That's why I was in favor of them introducing it as like a specific ability where you like press control or whatever to pop up. Granted, that had issues, but I was glad they were at least trying to properly introduce it as a mechanic instead of, oh, this is a useful bug that I guess we'll leave in. Because like it more grounds it as like an actual element of the game, as opposed to just some weird glitchy thing that can happen.
I will say this, and another a Mercy main. I know it wasn't EVA, and it wasn't. I think it was like someone named Spoons. I think they have like the Devil Mercy icon.
PSD.
I think so. I'm truly not. Anyway. I think I saw them say something along the lines of, I'd really hope that, like, they don't focus, like, Mercy has a lot of things going on and a lot of things going wrong. I just hope they aren't focusing entirely on, like, the super jump. And to be honest, I kind of feel like they are, and I'm like, oh no, I kind of feel like that too. Because I feel like Mercy has a lot of issues. And a lot of, especially going into 5v5, as we're kind of seeing. Like, people are forgetting that, like, in the first beta, she just does not work.
Right.
She didn't function. She didn't heal. Healing? Nope, you didn't do that. Especially not in Valk. And this is a hero that's, like, kind of clearly not doing all that well. She's kind of, like, fracturing at the seams. And I'm kind of standing there, kind of like, as they tweak her and change GA to do this, that, and the other, I'm kind of looking at her and I'm only seeing her get worse, because now we're seeing, like, with the GA kind of like getting like stuck on this super jump where they're just continuously jumping around.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, ever since her rework, that changed res to like a cooldown, she's already been kind of held together with duct tape.
Yeah, and
so
this is the reason why I have said for quite literal years at this stage that, like, Mercy has a huge kit and it's not functioning all that well. And now that we're seeing them try to awkwardly implement like super jump, because they know they can't add another button. There is no other button on the controllers, so they can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. You already use every single button on the controller.
You use reload?
You can't do it. She does. Legitimately every single button. There's a use for Mercy. There's an interact for it. So
she does not have an interact key, but every single other button or mechanic. She's one of like 2 heroes that can switch weapons.
Right, of course.
The fire. Okay, there's one other thing you can add, and that is a right click on her pistol.
Right.
But
yeah.
other than that, there's no real room for other abilities.
Just make it like.
I mean, if you open up our ability screen, it's one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
You could add additional functionality to some other things, but again, how complex do you want Mercy to be? Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, we have to keep in mind she's meant to be like a level 1 hero. You know what I mean? She's kind of meant to be, very beginner friendly. This is the reason why so many people got into Overwatch, and specifically why so many people love Mercy, is because she's so beginner friendly. And again, I'm not saying that like beginner equals bad. I'm not saying like aim equals good. Everyone knows this about me. I don't think I need to justify this. But it's, why on earth does she have such a big kit? I just don't understand, especially because we're seeing things like this and it's so frustrating. I feel like I'm talking to climate deniers, talking about how warm it is. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel like I'm going insane.
Why is it so hot this year? It's like, I wonder.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, Mercy's kit disintegrating? Gee, I wonder who could have predicted that. Oh my god. And I don't know. I just kind of wish they'd at least, like, try something unique with Mercy, Like, even in an experimental patch, just tone her down and just see how happens and what happens and just...
Well, do you remember?
It just breaks my heart. This episode, I'm broken.
Do you?
I'm not gonna lie, lads.
Do you remember that that experimental patch where they swapped Rez and Valk? Because that worked really well. And
the April Fool's patch.
It worked really well, and I have no idea why they haven't thought of doing that again.
Because it worked well.
Yeah, because it worked well.
I mean,
the creator patch and the April Fool's patch were some of the best patches they have ever made. Like, the community was pretty outspoken that they really liked that direction. And then they were like, okay, back to normal Overwatch.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to make this episode longer than it is, but like, I don't share the same opinion. But anyway, about a Mercy anyway.
No, I don't think well, Rez could definitely be an ultimate, right? That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
But then how else would you accommodate the kit to do that? Because I really dislike it as an ability. It's just far too easy that really ruins the pace of the game every time it's used.
I mean, again, I'm not pulling out new topics or anything like that. I've always said that, like, I don't think Rez deserves to be... It's too powerful of ability to be on a cooldown. And also, I don't think... Like, you're just nerfing it to the ground to the point that, like, it doesn't feel exciting or unique for the player. And also, it's bad for the other person. You know what I mean? So, like, it's a lose-lose situation. Yeah. So why not just put it as an ult? And I've always said that, like, if you're bringing it back, why not just a single ult? You know what I mean? Why not make it a little bit flavorful, that like maybe this singular person gets like a buff or a certain ability, or like maybe the ultimate is it's kind of like Tracer's ultimate, where it's basically like a third ability for all the world, but it's very small and contained. And there's many ways that you can kind of approach it, and I kind of wish that they would be a little more experimental with Mercy, because I kind of feel like... But I feel like they won't ever be, because she's just so divisive,
Jazz,
she's very popular too.
Jazz and I have spent years talking about this.
Yeah, and I am only one person, obviously, but I can't help but notice like a very obvious problem, and no one else is noticing it, and I'm like, guys, she's suffering here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people notice it. I feel like a lot of them just don't care, and the other half also don't care, but are on the balancing team.
Right.
Yeah, I solidly land in the don't care camp. Like, I understand people are passionate about this and have very strong feelings one way or the other, but like, for me, when it comes to heroes like Mercy, I just genuinely don't care. So, if that helps give you some perspective on how things are in the state they're in.
I'm in the camp where I want Mercy to be interesting, but it's not really a hero that's supposed to cater to me anyways, so it's like, I'm just wishing for anything for them, honestly.
Yeah,
it's like, wish you all the best, but
I hope your hero becomes less handsome to play against. That's all I can wish for.
Yeah.
Ian is literally that meme saying like, I'm not reading all this, but good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, I hope for the best. I hope you get what makes you happy and it works out well for you. But like, I can't be bothered to invest myself.
Yeah. Like for me, it's kind of like, you know, my Mercy days are very long gone at this stage, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, a hero that's causing both player issues and also enemy issues, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So like the player themselves and also the enemy. If neither of them are having fun, then like what's the point?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm coming from. That like if a hero is literally not working, why on earth do you continue to not fix the hero?
I mean, they've kept Bastion in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they tried with Bastion.
No, they didn't.
No.
No, they didn't.
A whole rework happened, and you're saying
Yeah,
that
but only now.
The rework only now happened, and it's fun, but it's not viable.
And how long has Mercy needed a rework? Come on.
Mercy
Probably
has,
equally long.
Mercy has needed a rework just as long as Bastion, because they were reworked around the same time.
That's exactly my point. So like Bastion got a rework before her, so like
Yeah, no, I get you.
Brig has also needed a rework since her launch. It's people were just like, hey, can you like make this less annoying to play as and against?
No.
And then they were like, okay,
Yeah.
let's remove everything that makes her fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still make her
That
horrible
should,
to play
that should
against.
keep the numbers of the play numbers low, because I feel like
Brig-
a lot of okay, well, you know what? I don't think this is a topic for today's episode. Let's just move
Yeah.
on to the generally shit balanced decisions they've made this beta around. They were like, you know what? Orisa and Doomfist.
Oh.
Yeah, they were pretty shit last beta, weren't they? Let's
Yeah.
make them a bit worse.
Yeah.
So they made Orisa just like less fast, her projectiles less interesting, and her fortify less good.
Yep. But they made the ultimate decent.
They made the ultimate be able to charge up to high damage, but that was not what it was used for. So, like, who cares?
Right.
The
One
other
step
part that-
forward, 10 steps back.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were like, alright, let's make the ultimate able to kill. It's like, they actually did it! They figured out the problem for the ultimate! And then they were like, okay, but we're slowing her movement, we're slowing her movements, we're making her spear garbage, and we're making the fortify ass. It's like, oh yeah, and her primary fire is now less interesting.
Yep.
I liked these scaling projectiles. They were fun. They were easy to hit on close range. She's a close range character now. Please keep it like that.
Yeah. Nah, it's a mess.
And then Doomfist, they were like, okay, let's just kill the entire gimmick. Slowdowns? No, that can't happen on the tank character.
Yeah, I was talking about this with people on my Discord the other day. The problem with Doomfist is that they seem like in an Overwatch game, in a game where they're pushing tanks towards being more like DPS, they took the tank that was originally a DPS and made them do the least damage,
That too.
which is just mind-boggling. Yeah, the problem is that the current kit for Doomfist is designed around just like CC, CC, and more CC. And, you know, there comes a point where CC is no longer useful, it's just there to be there, right? Because, like, half of the CC that Doomfist has now, it's not useful. It doesn't really make an impact, it's just sort of obnoxious.
The punch CC is pretty useful, but that's like...
But then it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. What does it do? It might stun a person, but then not.
No, you're not doing it for the stun. You're doing it for, like, getting them off a certain point or punching them into a team. But you're putting yourself at so much risk, and with the current power block, you're not getting out of that engagement either.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't see what their thought process is with this, or I see what their thought process is with this. It just doesn't make any sense. Like.
No, I don't actually see what the thought process is. The only thing I could see the thought process for is removing the slow, because slow is bad.
Well, yeah.
No, it wasn't. I had no issue with it. Maybe I saw one person that was like, thank God they removed it. I'm like, yeah, cool, buddy.
Well,
Now you can play faster now. It's like, what character really had an issue with being 30% slowed for 1 second?
The problem that I always had was that I would get hit by that, and I was like, this does nothing. Thanks. This is slightly inconvenient. It's And the problem is that they can't really go beyond 1 second, because then things just get a little out of hand, because it's such a volatile thing to have on such a large area.
They also removed the slow from the ultimate. I think they did too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Why? That was like the only interesting parts. That would look like that was your setup tool.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
They saw 1 week of almost viable Overwatch League play, and they were like, "That's too good."
It's like I don't see.
I will.
I don't see
Again,
how.
this is your. Oh, you go. Astro.
I don't see how they could ever have seen a character based around hitting things with like your fist and said, this should be more about CC than actually doing damage. And I understand making him a tank because they wanted stuns to be on tanks. That I get. I don't see how they ever thought that the solution for this was to make his damage low. I don't see it.
Well, CC's pretty ass now too. Like he has barely any.
Yeah. And the CC that he did have before was kind of negligible.
So, here's the thing. They made Doomfist a tank because he was so CC heavy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of his CC.
Yeah.
Most of it, yeah.
Upon becoming a tank.
Now they're real smart there over at Blizzard headquarters.
And
Listen, don't think about it too hard. You'll go mad.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I genuinely I knew this was like going to be like a tough episode because we've seen some bizarre shit this like past like couple of weeks, with the launch of the beta, and I'm just kind of sitting here kind of defeated feeling,
Yeah.
I just have no.
The other mentioned that they were like, yeah, we're gonna focus a bit more on making the supports a bit more fun this beta, and they have seen zero changes. Actually, they've been worse now because their passive was nerfed, and I think Zen was nerfed a little bit.
He was, yeah.
Mm.
But that's understandable. He is the best support in the game currently.
Yeah, and it's just really difficult to try and talk about the game. I'm starting to realize this because it really is starting to drain how all of these mistakes just kind of pile up, It's exactly what we said at the very beginning of the episode, and it's starting to dawn on me how serious it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like with what they've said about like their balancing, I feel like how should I put this? They're going to learn nothing, but they're only just gonna do it faster now. I feel like is what we're gonna see.
This, right? The initial beta's balance for tank and DPS I thought was incredible. All of them had something they could do. All of them did it well, and all of them felt incredibly cool, unique, and interesting.
Yeah, besides
and then they were like, you know what, this is a
I'd agree
bit
with
too
that.
good. Let's change it.
Besides Doomfist and Diva, I'd agree with that.
Like,
for the first beta,
like maybe I'm having a character arc in real time, but maybe this is the reason why people are asking for comp, because they want to show developers kind of like the progress of like what heroes need to be nerfed, what heroes need to be buffed, etc., etc. That kind of like. But.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of. It's just sort of dawning on me here. I'm like, oh damn, this beta is not going great, is it?
no.
And then
I think my biggest takeaway from this beta, and unfortunately it's something that struck me like I think almost immediately as soon as I jumped into it, is overall this beta just feels underwhelming, like in every capacity.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, new beta, we're so excited.
Junker
it's not that much new content.
Lucio.
The balance changes are like really weird and just are kind of pissing everyone off, it seems. It's like and then all the other stuff, we talked about with the Brig Twitch skin, people not being able to get into the beta. It's just like everything just feels like sort of like icky in its own way, where it just overall makes for a really underwhelming and just sort of like
I'm not
I
mad.
swear
I'm just
that's the
disappointed.
thing. Yeah, there you go.
Well, we've got one more topic, and I think it's the thing that is not underwhelming about the beta. The one thing that isn't underwhelming about the beta, and that is the Junker Queen.
Oh, here she comes.
Oh, she's so good.
She's so fun.
Well made. She says Gracie a whole lot.
Yeah, she does.
She should probably say that a little less, you know.
It's funny.
It's just like, I got Junker Queen on my team, and you just like every 5 seconds you just hear the word Gracie. You go fucking insane.
I mean,
Loud and boisterous. That's the point. You're supposed to get pissed off by listening to her.
Say something else than one line, please.
I mean,
Just say, "Come here, knife."
think
Like,
about
I don't know.
think about it like this, Ness. You know, it's Lucio. What is Lucio? Literally just makes stupid noises half the time, and I
Yeah,
have to
I
listen
know,
to that.
but it's like the new Diva Bang line. Remember that? Bang.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, but at least it's not like a chalk nails on chalkboard sort of voice like Trace or a Diva.
No, it's a good line. It should stay in there. Just maybe less frequently is what I'm trying
Okay,
to
so
say.
I don't have an issue with the Gracie stuff. Personally, I don't think I hear it too much. What I do have an issue with is listening to her snort every time she says thanks.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna drive me insane.
Thanks? Wait, what?
Yeah, she snorts sometimes before she says thanks.
It snorts like a pig. It's so weird listening to
It's
it.
really
I hate it.
weird. It's really
on.
weird.
Oh! I just heard it.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice that, jeez.
And I'm the sort of person who spams thank you like when I'm getting healed and stuff. So I'm healing it all the time, and it's like, I don't want to listen to this. It's gross.
She's definitely a character, let's just say that one.
He is a character.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't get the mental image of you just playing and saying thank you to your kind mercy player or something. You know, thanks.
No, it's the other way around. She snorts
Like,
first.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah,
I hate it.
it's awful.
Like, I'm not usually the sort of person who gets annoyed by specific sounds or anything, but for whatever reason, that specific sound she makes, I just really dislike.
Yeah.
And you know the funniest part is that I'm imagining you getting disgusted, but obviously because no one knows your face, neither do we, and so I'm just imagining your avatar just going eh.
You're the nondescript face getting scrunched up.
Ew.
Cringing on the inside.
But anyway, Junker Queen looks like an absolute blast. Now, she looks like so much fun. I'm dying to play this beta.
Yeah,
I
I'm
wanna
really
play her
looking.
so
I'm really
bad.
looking forward to
so.
playing it. Yeah.
I'll give the
Oh.
character a very in-depth... okay, let's in-depth look at a kit. Like, ability for ability, weapon for weapon, right? Let's start
Go
with our
ahead.
primary fire.
I'd say. Okay, so I think the primary fire needs to be ever so slightly faster, but other than that, yeah, it's so good.
That's,
It's
I
so
was
good.
underwhelmed at first, but I quickly came to realize that, oh wait, it's actually kind of really good.
It's
And it either
yeah.
needs to be a little slower and more powerful, or a little faster and less powerful.
Yeah. But it's good. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, we're gonna look at probably her most notable, the most fun ability she has.
The Junker
Her
Queen
knife
ability.
Gracie.
Yep.
The knife, in my opinion, is one of the most fun abilities designed for a character to have. It's just a recallable knife that you can throw. You can fuck around with it coming back from spawn. It's fast enough. It comes off cooldown fast enough that you can just toy with it.
Yes.
Maybe even randomly hit someone.
Yeah, I had a game the other day where I was on the second point of Gibraltar on defense, and I was on the low ground, and I was just kind of like, fuck it. I just randomly tossed the knife, to the high ground that the attackers come from. Just killed a Hanzo.
Oh,
I just.
Did you stick him or did you recall?
No, it stuck him.
Oh.
I randomly tossed it. I didn't even see where it was going. I had no idea what was gonna happen. Hanzo eliminated.
That's deserved. The Hanzo players do that too.
It was very funny.
Yeah, I think out of all of the abilities, this one has been designed, but has also been looked towards the most. You can definitely see that they looked at this ability a lot, and it definitely must have caused a lot of issues internally because it has an internal recall timer. It is a physical object that goes through every single defensive ability except a shield.
It has weird bugs to it as well, so that means that they probably had to do a lot of stuff to make it work.
It occasionally just flies. It will very often fly through geometry on the way back, but it's like I didn't expect anything else.
Yeah, there's no other way around that, basically.
No. Yeah, it's just a very strange ability. It also has limited range.
Yeah.
But the range won't come up except for if you're going for just like a map-wide yeet.
That's like what I did.
You just can't do that.
That's what I... Well,
and they probably came into like technical issues with that.
Yep.
But it is definitely the most fun ability she has. It's a cool skill shot. The bleed effect, barely noticeable, not gonna lie. The only thing the bleed really does is make the support slave miserable as they can't heal for 2 seconds. With their passive anyways. Like their passive won't trigger it until that is over.
Right.
And yeah, that's kind of all that bleed does. Her Carnage Axe is a bit of a weird one. It doesn't feel powerful, but it isn't at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Like with a wind up that long, you expect it to almost insta kill someone.
Right.
But it does 90 damage.
Right. That's what I found.
It has the same wind up as Sim right click.
Right. That's what I found, yeah.
Yeah, the range is also a bit weird.
I mean, I guess I'll mention this after you've run through the entire kit, because it applies to other things, but please continue.
Now, let's move on to probably the most problematic ability she has currently, the one that's tearing up the meta. That is her shift ability normally. It is her, what is it called?
Yell.
Commanding Shout.
Yeah.
It buffs everyone near you for 100 extra temporary health. It gives you an extra 200 temporary health. And it gives everyone in that radius a 30% speed boost. Very bloated ability on only an 11-second cooldown. What do we think about this?
I really like it. I think it probably needs minor nerfs, but I honestly, I think I would rather they nerf it a bit and then give maybe a little bit of a buff to her self-heal. But yeah, I think it's a problem in certain comps more than others, obviously. But I don't know. I like the idea, and I don't think it's inherently bad. But they need to... I think what they should do is I think they should reduce the duration, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, that's more or less how I feel about it as well. Like, I like it. I think it's a neat ability and it fits her and everything, but maybe there's some more tweaking that should be done with it in terms of, like, balance, amounts, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I have a few very distinct issues with it. One, yeah, the numbers are just fucking broken. There's really no way around it. It just makes... Like, you really don't want to fight a 300 health Mercy with a speed boost. Like, that alone is enough of a problem to warrant this being changed. But there are a few problems I have with it that are very specific. One, its range is massive. How does it reach people 25 meters away from it? The range is the same as sound barrier. And it's supposed to be a little shout.
I mean, she's loud.
I know she's loud, but that comes to my second problem. She really doesn't do an animation for it. In fact, her animations are just kind of lacking in general from a third-person perspective.
Yeah, That's what I was gonna get onto when you were talking about the axe ability, because I think all her activated abilities have a bit of an issue in terms of the visual components and conveying like what's actually happening. Her ultimate as well, I think, has an issue with that.
You're not really... They don't feel as powerful as they are. They don't feel correct. Like, your shout just kind of happens. You press shift, there's a little aura that comes out of you, and you hear a shout that's a bit muffled.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I guess I buffed my team. But it doesn't feel powerful. It didn't feel like you just did rally, but better.
Right.
No, I completely agree, because it's so strange to see. Because I remember, I like a good friend, I logged into Ian's live stream when the everything hit, because I knew I was not getting onto there on the first day. Absolutely no hope. So I logged in and I was watching Ian play. And all the time, the entire time, I was thinking to myself, her animations in the trailer, like as in like the emotes and stuff like that, looked so incredible. Right? I cannot state how great they look. And then you get to her actual like first person animations and also what she looks in the third person. And I'll be honest, like in actual battle, and I'll be honest, they look really lackluster and they look really janky. You know?
Yeah.
Which is uniquely strange to Overwatch. You know, we have complained like all day, all night about like balance issues, etc., etc. Very rarely have we ever complained about like actual animation aesthetic kind of issues. It's very rare. And for them to see them nail it for the emotes and stuff like that, and then completely fail at actual what you will be seeing the entire time you will be playing this character is strange. It's so strange.
Right.
You know?
It really is.
They look very lacking. They lack a bit of the character you're playing. They look a bit static even for a Valorant perspective.
Yeah.
Like, Valorant has more emotive characters than the way... like, her gun just kind of shooting. You know, like, it doesn't feel powerful, but it does 160 damage sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Like, you can list the animations that look good more easily than you can ones that look bad. Like, the ones that look good, to me, her reload, incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the animations relating to her knife look incredible.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And her knifeless melee looks incredible for some reason.
Yeah, it is kind of an interesting one.
But, like...
Again, I have to realize that, like, it's a beta, these things might change, but it's just so odd for Overwatch specifically, you know?
Right.
Like, normally they are top tier at this sort of shit. You know what I mean? Like, even there's a whole video I a couple of years ago, like going into how detailed like every hero's wave is, like Sombra's little like nail, like how she waves each individual finger, kind of like showing her sassiness.
Yep.
And like, you know, in comparison to like Farah's little salute thing, and like it's just so strange to see Junker Queen kind of lack in this degree. And I'm curious, did you guys notice anything with like Sojourn? You know,
Sojourn is bland in every way possible.
Oof, okay.
She's bland, but I think her animations convey what they should.
Yes.
It doesn't feel off. You're playing the character, and it makes sense. Sojourn's character is a bit robotic and like careful, and like it's calculated, right?
Yeah.
Calculated but high action, and that is what it feels like that when you're playing it, and the animations make sense for it.
Clean, efficient, no nonsense. You know, I get what you mean.
Yeah, with
But, like,
Junker
the Junker
Queen,
Queen
you're playing Valorant.
Has so much personality, yet it doesn't convey in the actual animation. You know, it's just so weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
continue.
then let's go on to the biggest animation fucking disaster I have seen yet.
Ding, 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 ding. Literally.
Let's go to her ultimate ability, Rampage, or also known as that. Wait, that hit me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, that hit me? Followed by a respawn timer. It's the most confusing ability in terms of animations. It just gives you an anti-nade, but better. Unavoidable. Just goes through everything. Sometimes walls. for no reason. Its range is stupidly high compared to how the animation conveys it.
Yep.
It has a wind-up, I guess, you know. You know, the wind-up is there just so you can get slept out of it.
Oh, and trust me, I do.
Oh yeah, you will. But it's just a very odd ability. You don't feel like you're using the second most powerful ultimate in the tank category, but you are.
It's
crazy how many kills this will get. Like, if you hit it right, you will kill the entirety of the squishies.
Who would you say is the first?
You just kill all their DPS and all their supports with it. Like, you ante them and give them, like, a 25 bleed.
Right.
That's crazy.
Who would you say is the most powerful? Zarya?
Probably... Actually, it's a bit of a difficult question, because, like, every ult has a different use, but this is just the generally most useful ever.
Right.
Like, you will go in, and you will never not have value with this one.
That's not true.
Unless you just whiff it really hard, right?
That's what I'm saying. I have done that.
But, like, self-destruct, like, sometimes it's just not a good idea to do it. You're in baby mode for a few seconds.
Flux is almost
Shatter,
never a good
they
idea.
have a shield, good luck.
Flux.
Grab, your team needs to be able to follow up on it. Flux, do they have their movement abilities?
And also, do they not have the ability to stun you or instantly kill you out of the air?
Do they play Sombra? Probably don't use it.
Yep, don't press Q if they have Sombra.
Don't play Sigma at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Orisa,
ironic.
it's basically... Okay, the ult is basically Halt,
Yeah.
but cooler.
Yep.
So, yeah. But Junker Queen just kind of antes the entire enemy team and gives them a bleed effect that heals her for a little bit. Just an actually negligible amount.
Right.
But, like, the entirety of the enemy team will likely die, or just, like, nothing happens. It's one of the two.
Yeah. It's funny that Sombra counters Sigma so well, because they made it very clear with the interactions that Sombra basically treats Sigma like her crazy old grandpa.
She cares for him.
Yeah.
And she's probably one of few in town that cares for him.
Stop it. That
What?
interaction is so cute.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it
There's a bunch
softens
of
my
them.
heart.
There's a bunch of them. There's one on...
When she's like, hey, listen,
If they try anything, yeah. She has a similar one on Circuit Royale, where Sigma will be like, "This place is lovely," it's something like, "This place is lovely." I don't know. We've never been here before. This place is lovely. And Sombra's like, "No, Sigma, we've been here before." Max has the wonderful Greek statues, and Sigma's like, "Oh yes, the wonderful Greek statues," and it's just like, "Oh my god, this poor guy."
oh, we've said this before in another episode. I really like how, like, this is such a side tangent. Sombra really looks after, like, kind of the more like, there's some members of her team, and it's notably the ones that are very clearly being used, like either being brainwashed or have been manipulated in some way into joining Talon or staying with Talon. And she has, like, a particular softness and care towards them, and she's like a good person underneath all the crimes, but, like, we'll ignore that.
She clearly cares for those weaker than her, but if it means getting to if it means getting to information, she will definitely walk into that gray area.
I mean, but that's the thing, right? I mean, she's awful to Widow. Widow hates her, she hates Widow. So
that's understandable, honestly. They hate each other, and Moira kind of designed Widow to hate everyone.
Yeah. So I mean, who else are you talking about, Jazz? The only person in Talon I can figure that she has any...
Reaper.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Reaper and Sigma.
Gabriel
and, like,
Sigma, yeah.
To be honest,
she cares for Cass
like,
too,
she's shown a little bit of care towards, like, Widow. I just don't... Like, she has shown a tiny bit of care towards Widow, and I think, like, it's a thing of, like, listen, I don't like you, but, like, I don't like what's going on with you, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, she objectively hates Moira, and I think there's a reason. It's because, like, she has no reason to be evil, but she is. You know what I mean?
I feel like she not only, like, just dislikes Moira, I think it's not hate, it's dislike, but it's also fear of Moira.
Oh yeah, it's very clear in some of her new interactions that like she jokes around with Moira, but like she will not press Moira. Like
she knows Moira is almost smarter than she is.
Like she's
afraid on an intellectual level.
She is perfectly aware of what Moira could do if she gets on her bad side. So she's
also very cold towards Doomfist as well. I've noticed.
Doomfist is basically just her boss.
You know, she kind of like.
Doomfist
she's very
just her crazy boss.
Cold on Doomfist.
Someone talks to Doomfist the way I talk to my employer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I have to say, like Junker Queen's like interactions with people, some of them are so fucking funny.
Yeah, the one with Soldier. The one with Soldier.
It's just.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it! It's just so. Do you know what? She's just so crass, and she's just so like. Oh, I like her. I just like her.
She has that.
I like
saying, I don't have any data on you. Who are you? It's like, yeah, you'd like to know.
Yeah, she has this great interaction with Soldier, where she's like, "If I had run Overwatch, things would have gone perfectly." And Soldier's like, "What have you done different?" And she's just like, "I would have captured all the bad guys and cut their heads off." It's just like,
yep.
And Soldier reacts just the exact same way that we just did. It was just like, tempting.
Just you're mad.
So yeah,
I feel like some of the Junkers will be joining Overwatch. I'm not gonna lie.
No, there's
specifically Junkrat. There's no reason for him to have that many voice lines with the Overwatch crew.
Junkrat tries so hard in his interactions to make friends. He's actually like trying, like he asks Soldier about the eating his toenails. He asks Brig about sticking bombs on her shield. He asks Ana if she would mentor him. It's just
But he's just really bad at conveying things.
Yeah, so obviously,
to us, the audience, it's very clear that he wants what's best, but he's also fucking insane.
Yes, exactly.
He's like, oh, if only I had like a mentor figure that could show me what is right and wrong. And it's like a mother figure, and I was like, oh no, not here.
Yeah, he tries so hard. It's.
Oh, he's just a little neurodivergent boy. He just can't help it.
I'm gonna be real. I think Junkrat narratively and like Junkrat as a character in Overwatch 2, I think has been my favorite so far. I mean, his interaction. He's had so many interactions. He has an interaction with Bastion where he's just doing a news report. He's doing a news report, asks Bastion something, and he's like, sure, I guess. I couldn't understand a thing you were saying, but there's other news. There's a meteor that has crashed.
The moon has fallen into the ocean. That's literally the line.
He tries to be friendly, even with Bastion, and then he realizes he can't understand what Bastion says.
Yeah. and then there was...
gentlemen.
Yeah.
Before I think we need to be mindful of the time.
Right.
So I'm going to ask. We're going to cut this conversation short, and I bet you now in the next episode we'll take a time to talk about the lore and the fun lines and stuff
do an entire lore episode.
That's fair. We could do that.
There are so many new ones, and I just want to talk about them.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I can definitely just put an episode down for that.
Yeah, I've got a ton to talk about with the new Sigma lines.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. And listen, I also contributed to this wormhole, but I gotta get us out here. Yep. So I have a question for you guys, right? After discussing Junker Queen and stuff like that and the impact that she has made, we are looking down at the barrel of when Overwatch 2 is released. We'll have the Junker Queen, who is a brand new hero. And then we have Orisa and Doomfist, who I consider brand new heroes, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're they're drastically different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, that's going to be 3 new tanks right off the bat. And then we're going to be pretty much in the next like 2 or 3 months after that releases, then we're going to have a third new tank. That's going to be 4 tanks in a very short period of time. And then we look at other categories. So like obviously there's DPS who just have Sojourn and then minus Doomfist. And then we have supports who, God bless, only have like presumably Foxgirl.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about the new influx of tanks? Do you think this is like a good idea? Do you think it kind of detracts from other roles? How do you think this will impact the game, especially because there's only like one player now? How do you guys feel about like this distribution of new heroes?
The next post-launch is also a tank.
Yeah, so my thoughts, Junker Queen is a tank. The December hero is going to be a tank. I feel like adding these 2 characters as tank heroes is like spillover from pre-5v5. Where they were developing heroes and they're probably focusing on tanks as a way to get more people to play tanks. And now they've already invested all that hero development into those heroes. Then they decided to swap to 5v5, thus sort of alleviating that need to get more people to play tank heroes.
Right.
But now they still have the leftover work they've done with the tanks.
Well, remember
remember
they said Junker Queen was fully developed for 5v5. Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
Ian, don't forget.
Yeah, I also don't eat my toenails, dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure Overwatch 2 won't have a predatory monetization system, but anyways, I think this is all spillover of just the incredibly long development of Overwatch 2, and how much other things have changed to the point where they're like, it used to be a problem that we couldn't get people to play tank heroes, and so we did a bunch of work to alleviate that. But then through some other means, aka 5v5, we sort of alleviated that. So now we still have all this extra work alleviating tank queues, but now they're just increasing tank queues because now everybody wants to play tanks because tanks are super exciting now.
Really
and I guess
fun.
that doesn't really account for like the Orisa rework or Doomfist becoming a tank. But even those, I almost wonder if like there was some sort of intention there pre-5v5, even though timeline-wise we don't really have evidence of that. Because they're putting so much focus on tanks. And I say this as a tank main, they need to stop focusing on tanks.
Yeah.
They need to focus on supports.
Yeah.
Good lord, that role is suffering.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of the same way. It's just like, give me Malga, and then you can do whatever you want with the supports. They need it. Give me Malga, and I'll be happy for a while.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little torn.
Little torn, okay.
Because on the one hand, if you're changing a role that drastically, don't know what happened there. That drastically, you kind of do need to prioritize it, but at the same time, supports are just becoming the new tanks, and it's just shifting one problem and just shifting it towards like another role instead of like fixing it.
Yeah.
And
I've been saying
I
this
kind of
for
feel
years,
like I did this. I kind of feel like, I had epiphany a few days ago, and you guys saw this on the group chat, and I was kind of like, how long was it since we've had like a support hero? And I looked it up, and Baptiste was the last one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up.
I showed this in the first episode that talked about Overwatch 2 again. I was like, oh, it's been 3 years.
Yeah, I know, but like, the way you hear, like, here's the thing. You see 3 years, and it's like, well, we've been waiting for 2 years for Overwatch 2, so that makes sense. And then you realize, oh, wait, that was the beginning of 2019. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's 1,400 days since we've had a support hero.
Pre-COVID.
So by the time we actually get a new support, like, presumably, hopefully, Foxgirl will be here soon. You know what I mean? Like, by that stage, it'll almost be 4 years until we've actually seen a support hero, a new one.
Yeah.
And I kind of just, something in my brain just kind of like switched. You know what I mean? I just kind of went like, oh my god, it's been so long. I feel ancient.
Didn't they?
I can't wait to see the AZ memes. It's been 9,000 years.
3,000 years, yeah. Didn't they say that the next 2 heroes after Malga will be supports? Because I believe they did.
Yes.
Yeah, they said that the two heroes after the December hero will most likely be supports.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie,
but-
Blizzard. If the next one after that, I don't think people would be mad if that one's also a support.
No, I don't think they would be. No.
I mean, not to be spicy, and not to kick people when they're down, but also the developers have said for the past 6 years that they have an influx of support heroes, and we haven't seen them.
Bruh, where?
So-
I haven't seen Jack! An influx of tank and support players. Yeah, we've seen this. We've seen the tanks, dude. Like, half of them are animated, but like...
I'm just
Where's the
saying,
supports?
like, for a company, they have been saying this for 6 years. They're like, yeah, we have supports in development, and I'm like, where? Where are they?
Where?
Cool,
Release
bro.
them.
Multiple tanks and supports in development.
By
That's
this same
crazy, bro. And then they shout out Baptiste, and they were like, "Okay, here's the immortality lamp as a character."
Don't disrespect my boy, my man.
He's a great character, but in the game he's a bit boring. I'm not gonna lie.
He's the lamp man.
He's the lamp man.
Lamp man. But I think we can all agree that like maybe, like I do agree that like okay, maybe until Overwatch 2 releases, yeah, okay, maybe focus on tanks because they have the biggest change, you know, and understandable. They have the most issues, the biggest change. Completely understand. Good day, Chief. No critiques here. But afterwards, my sweet Jesus, I think they gotta look at the sports
No, and I mean they really have to
before there's a riot.
They really have to because the tank queues are going to get ridiculous, and the best way to alleviate that would be to release supports.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
I've got some wishes for supports, right? Because, Taz, I don't know if we can agree on this, or even Ian and Astro as well.
Oh,
But I think the support roster, a lot of the supports at least 4 of them, focus far too much on the healing aspects. Like, 3 of them just straight up have 0 utility. And the lamp has utility, but like, it's not utility. It's a lamp.
I mean, I do think that there should be some supports that are just super leaning into healing. I think that's a good thing.
We have Moira.
Yeah, I think
We have Bap.
yeah.
We have Mercy.
Well, okay, yeah.
We have Ana.
Mercy's a little bit on the border, but no, I agree. I think it's good to have supports that are leaning heavily into like more healing, but I also agree that that more utility-based supports would be good. Like
I just want,
Ana's
like-
both though, which is kind of strange.
I mean, is it the fact that like, oh, there's just too many of this, blah blah blah, or is there a fact of like, there's just not a whole lot of diversity in terms of like supports? You know, we've been playing the same supports for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Admittedly,
So are we? Is it?
Admittedly, I think they've said that support's the hardest for them to design.
That's
we-
true.
Yeah.
But here's my problem with that, right?
hmm
Looking at it, I don't think it's that difficult. Just design a DPS character, make them do crazy utility, and somehow figure out a way to put some amount of healing in the kit.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Like, they've made Zen.
Yeah, they did make
Just
sense.
do that again, but with more, do something different.
And I know that now they're saying they want more, like, less aim-based characters in general, which I like.
But they phrased it so wrong. They were like, more Mercy-like supports. Do you know what the support, player base thinks about that?
Right.
Exactly.
Most of the
that's
support
something
player
I
base
didn't-
would absolutely claw their eyes out if they have to play Mercy.
It's
Yeah.
something I didn't mention in Mercy's, the whole Mercy section, but like the fact that they said like, oh yeah, we want more Mercy heroes, that strikes fear into my heart because I'm like, oh sweet God, what does that mean?
They
'Cause that
really
could mean many
underestimate
things.
the player base.
That could mean many things, you know what I mean? That could mean like as simple as like, oh, non-aim based heroes, which again, not opposed to it. Again, you have to implement like other skill sets. And again, I think they just kind of like drop the ball on that, especially with like supports and stuff like that. But whatever, I'm not getting into it. Not today, Satan, not today.
Mhm.
But then when they phrase it like that, I'm thinking to myself like, what do they mean? Do they mean like a hero that does everything? A big kit? A simple design? What do they mean?
Right.
A character that's easy to play. It's like what do you mean by that? It's like, and they also said
translation.
specifically Mercy like
Translation.
supports.
Right.
Like not just like, oh, we want more like accessible characters in every role. It's like no, just more Mercy like supports. You know, the one exactly only Mercy players like to play and no one else.
Right.
And the hero with less crossplay,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of induces fear.
I think it's the sort of thing
But-
where we're just gonna have to wait and
And
see.
gentlemen, I think that's us for done for tonight.
Yes,
Or
I agree.
this evening.
Yeah.
So too. I feel like we've said quite a bit today.
Oh yeah.
It
All
was
right.
a long one.
Well, we know what time it is, Ness.
Well, I don't have anything stupid to say.
Exactly.
Well, god damn it. It's like pro tip for the audience. If you have Twitter, just uninstall it for a month. Just see what happens.